Hello. Um, so I'm fairly new to all of this streaming stuff. Um, so please forgive any audio mishaps or weird issues as I kind of figure this stuff out. But I suppose I should introduce myself. Hi, my name is Sam. I run this channel. Um, I am an avid D&D player. Um, and that's the primary focus of this channel. I would say the secondary focus of this channel is some of my original fictional work, um, including the story of Aether and um, the main character, Arion. I'm sure the subtitles are going to butcher that spelling, so I'll have to go back and fix that in post, but um, what else? I have been doing digital art since I was probably in middle school. Um, I would say the learning curve was steep, but I have a good deal of experience at this point, and now I'm working more on refining my art skills than my digital skills, but both kind of go hand in hand with this. So, um, I've got about 10, 15 years of experience with digital art. Um, so that's what we're working with here. Um, Obviously, I don't expect to have any viewers today because, for one, I didn't advertise this at all for a reason. I want my test run to be uh, low key. But this will be recorded and saved on my YouTube channel as my first stream. So here we are. Um, hmm. I suppose we could just jump right into it. One thing I will note, you'll see hopefully on your screen some open captions that will be viewable to everyone, and you won't be able to turn those off because those are actually embedded in my video output on my streaming software. So you won't be able to turn those off, but I have those on just in case the captions fail me. My auto captioning system fails me with the transcription file, which has happened a couple times in my tests. So, um, you'll see on your screen that. Hopefully it's not too distracting or too illegible. I tried to keep it accessible. And then above that, you will see my now listening to. That's what I can hear on my speakers. For copyright strike reasons, I'm not going to be streaming the audio that I'm listening to, and you're not going to hear that. That's just going to be um, displayed so that you can see what I'm listening to. If you want to listen along, I guess you could. Or if you're just like curious, I don't know. It's just something I've seen in a lot of streams, and I think it's kind of fun to see what artists are listening to when they work on stuff, because people have really different tastes. So, um, without further ado, I guess we'll get started. Like I said, I'm kind of new to this, so the flow might be a bit awkward. I'm not super used to voicing my thoughts out loud while I'm doing art, so that's something that I'm going to be settling into a little bit. Um, but I'm kind of looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to having a record, if nothing else, of my art process and progress, hopefully. So, here we go. I'm gonna play my music, and I'll throw in commentary when I feel like it's warranted, but other than that, I'll probably be pretty quiet, so feel free to turn on your own music and just throw this up on the side while you're doing something else, or, whatever you do while this kind of stuff is going on. I always struggle with the placement of the wrist bones in these, uh, well, not even really with these ankles, just generally, wrist bones are kind of difficult for me, because the arm bones can actually rotate and wrap around each other. I learned that from a book series that I started reading recently. I wouldn't really call it like one that you would sit down and read, it's more of like a reference type scenario, but it's still really good to just kind of like sit down and at least like flip through and, if nothing else, give like a cursory glance to the content so that you can familiarize yourself with it in case you want to reference, for example, the placement of wrist bones. I'm not going to right now because I'm feeling a bit lazy, but something in theory that I could do. But I'm not too worried about this being super anatomically accurate either. This is more about the getting a feel for Salad as a character. Uh, Funny enough, even though Salad is my oldest D&D character, the very first session of Willow Wood was in September of 2021, believe it or not. So this campaign's been ongoing for nearly, well, okay, hold on. I can do basic math. Roughly 4 years, 4.5 years. We're gonna go with that. I don't really feel like putting a whole lot of brain power into it right now. I spent a good chunk of today cleaning, um, with the help of my wife, our bedroom, which was long overdue some TLC, but we are both chronically ill and disabled, so that is a big ask. if I'm being honest. Um, and the laundry had kind of piled up, so it was it was a big task, but not as bad as I was imagining it was going to be, which was nice. But that's what I spent a good chunk of today working on, so I am out of spoons, to say the least. I just want to relax and draw and, I guess, have an excuse to ramble while I draw. This is fun. This is coming more naturally to me than I thought it would. I'm gonna look back at this probably and be like, I can't watch myself. But who knows? Maybe. Let's see. I do love to yap though. I'm a big yapper, so it should come as no surprise. Should probably look up a reference image. Actually, I'm going to. Hold on. We're going to pull up. Let's see. Skillet. I'm sure there is some excellent tool in Clip Studio Paint that allows me to reference this in a better way, but I do typically, with my references, just go old school with it and copy paste directly onto my canvas. I find it a bit easier because it's right there, and I just delete the whole layer when I'm done with it. Do we think? Do we think salad carry a skillet this? No, we're gonna stick with the long handle. Yeah, let's. I do kind of love the hand sketched feel that a little bit of a wobbly um, line can have. I think it has some character to it, especially in this day and age when AI can now make everything basically perfect. No. It's just a layer I'm sketching on. The final line art. Yeah, and the reason salad is ribbed is even though you would think that like someone who works in a bakery and is very conflict averse wouldn't be. Salad's a farmer, so no stranger to a little bit of elbow grease and hard labor by any means. Also, they're a baker, and bakers have to actually be kind of strong. If you've ever kneaded bread, you know what I'm talking about. This is feeling a bit more. Okay. Would salad be the type to accessorize the frying pan? Get in the way, but maybe something practical like a. How would you handle? Yeah, okay, okay, I got it. Salad's the practical type. They're whimsical, but I think with a weapon, they're gonna be going more for something practical. So I think salad actually would absolutely add some straps of some sort to the handle of the pan to make it easier to probably just some like really loose leather straps so that it's a bit more difficult to disarm them, I would say. But not something so tight that they are gonna be chancing getting like stuck with it if they need to drop it fast. I think salad would probably also be the type to like somehow thermally insulate the handle of the pan, and I'm gonna say that they would do that with leather wraps the same way that they would add those straps. So we're just gonna do that. I think there we go. That's salad's pan. Or a sketch of salad's pan. Now comes the actual line work. Okay. Turn that down a bit. Maybe I'll turn my stabilization up just a bit. I struggle with making my lines pretty. And at the end of the day, I do want them to be pretty. Okay. Alright. Sure to get that right there. Yeah, here we go. Alright. It's all coming together. Maybe just for a little bit of flair. Salad loves a little flair. Let's see. Okay, if I swing it around like there we go. Skillet weighs. Let's look it up. How much does a cast iron skillet weigh? Let's see. 12-inch cast iron skillet. I know it's got to say how much it weighs. No, I don't want your... Okay. Dimensions, yes. Wait, 7.69 pounds, damn. Okay, so salad's hefting around a 8-pound skillet. No wonder they're fucking ripped. Excuse my French. But, yeah. No wonder they're ripped. Okay. I like to imagine that salad somehow carries the skillet on like the hammer loop of their belt. Like they've got a tool belt that specifically has been modified to carry this ridiculous skillet. I also think though that for practical reasons they might carry around, instead of one 12-inch skillet, they might instead carry around two of the like miniature skillets. What size am I talking about? You know, the little egg ones that you see in the grocery store aisle. Skillets. They make them like super small. Yeah, you can go down to like a 3.5 inch. I don't know, that might be too small, but like a 5-inch skillet, that's like an egg size. Yeah, okay. How much does a 5-inch skillet weigh? Only 1 pound. Okay. What about a 6.5 inch? 2 pounds. Get whacked in the head with like a 2-pound skillet. That probably hurt. Yeah. This is why art takes me so long, you guys. It's because I will do art and I'll sit there and wonder, how much does a 12-inch skillet weigh? The dual wield two 6.5-inch skillets. We'll say 6-inch skillets for simplicity's sake. After all, we can stretch the truth a little bit here. This half-elves don't exist in real life. Half-elves, not half-storm. Let me correct the subtitles here really quick. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled shit posting. Shorts time. Salad has the camp counselor aesthetic down pat, I think. And it's not an aesthetic to them either. For sure. It's definitely a lifestyle. Belt buckles are difficult. They always look wrong for some reason. I do them. Close enough, I guess. Let's round out this armpit here. Give it some structure. Clean this up. It's a bit more logical now. Is escaping pirate too much? Why would that be a bad thing? Can never have too much pirate. Big ass pockets, because Salad is definitely a cargo shorts bitch. Yeah, there we go. Dimension. And some big ass high-waisted shorts. High-waisted shorts. Another cargo short pocket in there. Streaming. Probably should have checked that. Probably hasn't been that long at this point. I imagine that Salad has the build of a star soccer player. In fact, they probably could have been a star soccer player if it weren't for the whimsy and the fact that Willow Wood probably isn't big enough to have a soccer team, let alone a soccer team big enough for Salad to be a well-known or star player of any sort, you know what I mean? But definitely has the build of one, for sure. Legs like tree trunks. But also somehow built like a horse in the sense that, like, a lot of people probably look at them and think that they could easily be harmed to the point of no hair. They just have that kind of like frail attitude about them. I don't even think it's about looks. I think it's just the vibes that Salad tends to put off. Wow, these subtitles are not doing me very well. Hmm. We'll see if I actually get around to editing that much in post. That's a lot of work. I understand why it is expensive to have good subtitles, but I'm rambling again. I don't even know where I was going with that. Suffice it to say, I think good subtitles are important, but I only have so much energy. I think that's what I was trying to say. It's hard to talk and draw at the same time when you're really trying to focus. That is not how shoes are shaped. There we go. Spin that. That looks a bit better. That still doesn't look great. Ugh, guys, feet are hard. Perspective is hard. I'm already ready to stop for the night. Okay, guys. I think I'm gonna log off for now. I know I kept you waiting for a while, but nobody actually showed up to watch it, so you could skip ahead. And the recording. Yeah, just keep skipping till it switches to this. I'm giving instructions as if anyone who's watching this will have seen this part of the stream before the beginning. Anyways, thank you for watching if you made it this far. I'll probably stream longer next time. It's just been a very long day, and it's like 8 p.m. here right now, and I know that's not super late, but I am ready to be off screen and not performing for anyone, if that makes sense. So, until next time,